Hey cats, it's Ed, Midsole Bud here. I recently noticed that sportshoes.com had got hold of a load of pairs of the ADIDAS ADIZERO Pro EVO 1. The unicorn shoe, the rare Pokemon card. It's the race-winning model that's been worn by some of the fastest elite runners in 2024. But running shoe prices are only going in one direction, and we have to look at the cost here. When does the shoe just cost too much money? Where do we draw the line? We've had things like the Puma Fast RB Nitro Elite and of course the Alpha Fly 3 from Nike, both of which are around about £300. Today I want to discuss running shoe prices. How much is too much? Let's discuss. Thanks for joining me on the channel. Please do hit that subscribe button if you've not done so already, and also give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help with the YouTube algorithm. Dankeschön. So a big restock of that Pro Evo 1 from Adidas. Did you pick up a pair? I scanned across the site at the sizes available, and at the time when I was on there it was almost all of them too. I asked myself, do I really need this shoe? And the answer was no, not at £449. It's just obscene almost. The shoe was released exclusively via the sportshoes.com app, so you have to download their app onto your device and then probably create an account. Then the shoes will appear. If you just go onto the website you won't be able to see them. I think they may already be gone. Maybe they had like 2 or 3 pairs in each size or something. You couldn't add discounts to them either. They were excluded from any of that. They must be making a huge amount on these shoes. I mean, we all know how much it costs to actually produce them, right? I recall the original unveiling of the shoes and how everyone was saying it was a limited drop only for elites and very few pairs would be available and all that jazz. So down the line, some months later from that initial release in March 2024, there's finally some out in retail stores. But guess what, Adidas? People don't have unlimited amounts of money to spend. I don't think people are prepared to fork out this much money, and it's always going to be one of these luxury items if you keep it at that price. I mean, you could say to yourself, couldn't you, that the Alpha Fly 3 is like the world record marathon shoe. Sadly, Kiptum no longer with us, who ran that time, but this one's still nuts at like £285, so it's not cheap by any stretch. Let's not forget that it's stated that the Pro Evo 1 has some limited durability, and of course you've got a slight weight difference, but it's not all that much lighter than some of the other models that are out there at the moment. They're like a third or even a quarter of the price. The shoes now seem to have disappeared from the app, perhaps due to selling out. Not sure, as the whole lot was available when I looked, and unless a few runners have won the lottery or received some inheritance overnight, I'm amazed that they've all gone. Perhaps people have bought them to put them up on resale sites, which actually makes me even more angry about it all. I think in the current climate, 450 quid is just nuts. As I said, £285 for the Alpha Fly 3 is start raving bonkers anyway. Let's put it into perspective, shall we? You might have like a good club runner. Maybe they're aiming for like a sub-3 marathon attempt. If they're getting like a performance increase of about 4% with the current shoes that are available, is the price to performance worth it, really? And let's not forget that you won't know if the shoe's going to work for you until you get it on foot. That's a big gamble. Just think if you shell out and try the shoes out a couple of times and they just don't work for you. That's just going to be a total waste of hard-earned earth credits. Perhaps you just feel that the perceived improvement in your performance with the shoes just isn't really that much better than what you've already got. How are you going to feel then? The ADIOS Pro 3, being the currently available top tier race shoe from Adidas, is pretty resilient and the rubber outsells up to the test, but with only influencer information and reviews so far on the Pro Evo 1, who's going to gamble that sort of money, especially when it's close to double the price of the ADIOS Pro 3. Another strange situation with Adidas is the starving of the market with another shoe that they've got coming out, the Evo SL. I didn't get lucky on the draw that they had for this shoe. Yes, you had to stump up your cash, or potential cash, £130, to be in with a chance of winning a pair. I didn't realise that a few retail sites had a few pairs of these as well. It did seem like a reasonably limited release, but this is just a trainer. They're artificially creating hype over something that they'll probably release in bulk, you know, later on in the year, perhaps early next year. I think there's some type of shank in the Evo SL. You've got full-length Light Strike Pro. There's a little bit of Continental rubber on that outsole. But at the end of the day, is it worth the inclusion in a draw to win the shoe? I mean, you're not winning it really, are you? You're still having to pay. You're just winning the chance to buy it. Remember the scarcity of some of the Adidas shoes in the past, those Yeezy models? They can be brought off the wall in Sports Direct now here in the UK, believe it or not. Starving of the stock to generate hype is really, really odd, especially in the running world. People want a shoe they can get hold of, perhaps multiple pairs of it. If they really like it, they want that consistency and they want to be able to use it over the course of like a big training block or maybe the course of a year. People just want to run in these shoes, Adidas. It's not a big hype thing. The only people that are hyping up these shoes are actually the influencers that have got them early. And have they got anything absolutely groundbreaking to say about them? No, they haven't, have they? I bet there's thousands of pairs of those Evo SL sat in a warehouse somewhere waiting to be released. But yeah, they've got to drive the hype because at the end of the day, it's a training shoe, isn't it? It's not some race shoe. I can't see anybody spending like £300-400 to get a pair to review. That would just be absolute madness. Shoe launches come and go very quickly. The next model's right around the corner, and I think it's a big gamble for the Three Stripe brand to place a shoe into a drawer like this when you've got the existing ADIZERO SL2, which is a great shoe, let's not forget, which you can pick up for, you know, below £100 right now if you look around. It's a great performer, it's readily available, yet the hype train keeps on rolling for the thing you can't have. They seem to think that everybody will want it if they put it into a drawer and make it like difficult to get hold of. That only works for so long. There's a ton of shoes out there that are doing the same thing as this Evo SL. What about the Pegasus Plus? Yeah, it's a bit more expensive, but you can get loads of pairs, loads of different colourways. The Zoomfly 6 released, it's got a carbon plate, there's more foam, and for around about the same weight, and it's 25 quid more. You can use that for racing if you want to. The Street Flies existed for some time with ZoomX foam instead of the Light Strike Pro stuff, obviously, which Adidas use, and it's also much lighter than the Adidas model in the sample size. And that's just Nike too. I'm not talking about any other brands yet. What I'm trying to say is it's artificial hype, and this model just simply doesn't fit with it being in a drawer. You want to sell shoes, Adidas? Why on earth would you make this anticipated release that people will probably try out for the amount of money it is into a drawer? Ultimately, you're just irritating your customer base while you're constantly spamming out multiple iterations of those supernova models, more colorways of existing race shoes that people don't want, yet you've got the constant attraction of the Adios Pro 4 there on the website as coming soon. Meanwhile, Nike and Asics are making shoes that people can at least go out and buy. Yeah, the Nova Blast 5 looks set to drop in November, and people are eager to grab that new offering. Let's face it, one of the most popular and available running shoes over the last few years. So if you make a shoe very difficult to get, put it in a drawer, people have got their money there. It's like, you know, take my money. You can't because you put it into that type of situation. I did notice that Adidas have finally decided to drop their legal action against Kanye West involving all those Yeezy shoes. Does seem like they're in a bit of a limbo at the moment. They don't really know what to do they? After relying for too long on the Boost technology and then trying to mirror the popular carbon plate shoes of the time, they've just forgotten what runners want and who runners are. People want great, available and consistent running shoe models that aren't as heavy as the recent history that surrounds Adidas. They've even got rid of the discounts that you used to be able to get on a whole range of their ADIZERO models. They've removed those from any type of saving, so that's putting people off too. It's no wonder that people are flocking to other brands right now to get their running shoe fix. I think availability is the key, really. Most people have wanted to test out certain models this year and they keep messaging me as to why they can't get them. That's why people go for the tried and tested stuff, because it's available. At this point, none of those hyped up Adidas shoes are obtainable, and if you can't get them, then you can't run in them. What do you make of these drawers and all this sort of strange hyping up of shoes? How much is too much for you? Let me know down in the comments. very quick musical interlude for you. An album that kind of got missed, I suppose, due to the pandemic. I think it was released in right at the start of March 2020. Is Traditional Techniques from Stephen Maltmus. I love the closing track on this album. It has a beautiful feel to it. The acoustic guitars here have a wonderful spacious sound, and the actual melody itself flits between being sweet and sour affair. There's a little hint of sadness in there, sort of a sentimental feel. Yeah, the track Amberjack just has something else there. You know when you hear a track and it sounds like it's been beamed in from another world, it takes you to some other place. It's completely away from the room you're in or the place you're walking around in. Stephen Maltmus seems to have the ability to do that. He can write some very noisy, abrasive kind of material, but he can also switch it up straight away and do something that's very sort of heartwarming and paints a completely different type of picture. Go and check it out. The track is called Amberjack and it's from Steve Maltmus's album Traditional Techniques. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Also comment for the algorithm, it really helps out. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you